information at myfwc.com.
Let's open the Gator Vault and look back on another great moment in orange and blue history.
On November 19th, 2016, with the SEC East title on the line, Florida faced 16th-ranked LSU in a showdown at Death Valley. In the final seconds, LSU had the ball at Florida's 1-yard line, needing a touchdown to win, until it was 4th and goal.
Bentley takes a snap, tosses the Geis. Geis trying to lead over the top.
That stop is one of the greatest goal line stands in Gators history. It sealed a 16-10 victory and clinched the SEC East for Florida in one of the Gators' most dramatic wins.
This is Sean Kelly, voice of the Gators, and you're listening to the home of Gators football, right here on WRUF.
I'm Kevin Winter, Insider, WRUF Studio. Hannah Mack from the Sports Lab, WRUF.com. First at 5 on WUFT. She's running shotgun this morning. Here's what's happening. If you were tuning in to listen to the Dan Patrick Show here on WRUF, from now on, every Monday during football season, we are going to bring you Florida Gator head coach Billy Napier's weekly press conference. He is scheduled to speak roughly about 11:45 over at the Havener Football Complex. The Gators, we have finally reached game week, Mac. It is finally game week. We're here.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited, Kevin Winter. I mean, you could just feel it, right? I mean, I was walking around on campus this morning, and like you said, it's game week. There's a different energy in the air whenever Florida football is about to take off.
It is about to take off this week. I opened up at the when we started. Steve Russell on Sports Scene will come on as soon as Billy Napier is done speaking. We're going to bring you Billy's entire press conference, unless it just for some reason goes on and on and on. But we're going to give you the basic gist of things here. There's no doubt in my mind the first question that should be asked is the health or, Coach, what is the status of quarterback DJ Lagway this week? That's it, right?
This isn't going to be the SEC Media Days where the final two questions of his press conference were about Lagway. It was like, where was this the entire time?
Right.
That's the biggest point that should be asked in these conferences, which I'm sure it will be. I have no doubt.
I am curious to see, for all of us to hear together. You can, by the way, if you are watching, you'll be able to watch you can't watch the press conference, but you can hear the stream and you can hear the audio on our YouTube channel at WRUF, home of the Gators. We're up and running right now. I'm curious as to how in-depth Billy Napier goes, not only about the plan. Billy does seem to me to be a coach that he lets you into the room a little bit or lets you into his plan. Not like a Bill Belichick where it's, 53 guys.
Silence, yeah.
You're right. 53 guys go out to prepare for a game. But I'm curious as to the in-depthness and the detail that Billy goes about with where DJ is in all of his recovery processes. Remember, had the shoulder injury, the throwing issue in the springtime, right before camp. You and Michael Tubbs are on the air during the Sports Lab from 2 to 4. Every Monday through Friday now. I think it was a Friday afternoon, right? And you guys went, wait, what?
We saw that notification on Twitter and said, uh-oh, there's another injury that you have to worry about now.
It's another boot. It's another
boot. How serious it is. Exactly. The Gator football team and their boots. They all have boots in their closets.
What else are you curious, Hannah Mack, is LIU Brooklyn is the first opponent coming up on Saturday. This is a pay game for them. The game's not even on the board in Vegas, so that's all you need to know there. What else are you interested in hearing from Billy here in his first game week press conference that will be happening in a matter of moments over at the Havener Training Football Complex right here on the campus of the University of Florida? You'll hear it here on WRUF. What anything else are you curious to hear about from Billy?
I'm curious to hear about some of the freshmen. The wide receiver room, obviously, that's been one of the biggest topics of conversation surrounding this team is, okay, how many of these guys are going to get out there against Long Island and get consistent reps throughout the game? Is this going to be more of a focus where, DJ, some of the starting guys, they're only out there for a very brief period of time? And obviously, depending on how the first quarter goes, that you can predict that throughout the game. But I'm curious to see how many freshmen are going to get some serious playing time, and how many rotations is Billy going to go through in this game.
This is WRUF. She's Hannah Mack. I'm Kevin Winter. You usually catch us 2 to 4. You catch me every day 2 to 4. Hannah's part of the Sports Lab. She's part of one of our massive group of students who are part of the Sports Lab here at WRUF. Billy Napier's weekly press conference over at the Havener Football Training Complex, and Billy Napier stepped to the podium here at WRUF.
What's up, guys? Yeah. Okay, guys, we everybody ready to go here? Game week? Yeah, no doubt. Okay, it's good. It's good to be back. Obviously excited about being back at Ben Hill Griffin and Steve Spurrier Field and the Swamp. 13 straight sellouts. We're certainly thankful for the support and excited about the atmosphere that will come with a home opener. I know our players and staff are really excited about the opportunity to compete. I think in the game of football, you spend a ton of time preparing, and then these things are precious, and we certainly look forward to it. So, I think it's important for our team to buy into the concept of preparation and how that can separate us from the opponent. And the whole idea of practice, what the game requires, not only from the players but from the staff. And when you get to in season, it's important that we understand the great teams, the championship teams, continue to improve each week because of the practice environment and the approach to the routine and how we prepare. Not everybody likes their role. It's important that they embrace their role and they work to earn more game day habits that will hold up in the most critical moments. And I do think that, we have a lot of people and everyone is contributing to the team, and it's important that they understand that. So, Long Island comes into town with a veteran head coach. Ron Cooper is established, well-respected in the profession. He's been around the block, and he has a team who finished strong and has some momentum. They've got, I think when you turn the tape on, there's really good intangibles. They play hard. They play with effort, toughness. There's discipline. And they have a really well-thought-out plan on offense, defense, and special teams. So, in general, it's time to go. And, it's important our veterans lead the way. Let's see how good this group can be. What questions do we have?
DJ's status, how did he look all of last week? And is he good to go, cleared to do everything?
Yeah, DJ has been 100% participant in practice here for several days.
How's he look and feel?
Yeah, I think he gets better every day. I think he's having a lot of fun playing football and competing. I think he's smiling a lot more often now. So I think he truly enjoys practice and preparing, just the opportunity to get better. I think the kid is consumed with improvement, and he knows the value of practice. So him getting to do that, I think he's a happy guy.
The starting quarterback for the first quarter, is that to be determined, or?
Say that one more time.
Is he the starting quarterback for the first quarter?
Yeah,
is that to be
DJ's
determined?
the starting quarterback. Yeah.
You haven't had one of these to kick off the season, is it? I try not to be disrespectful, but a little bit, is it a good opportunity to get a lot of guys playing time, hopefully?
Yeah, we don't necessarily see it that way. I think right now, really for the way I would say it to the team is that, this is our first time as a group executing our process from Sunday to Saturday. And a new group of players and obviously some new staff members. So I think we're living in the moment here one day at a time. I think today's a Monday for us, so we're consumed with being as efficient as possible. The more detail, the better. And I would expect us to get better every week regardless of who we play. So I think independent of who we play or where we play, I think we
have agreed that it's all about what we do, and we got to control the things that we can control.
How does it differ when you're not going to play a top whatever team, 15, let's say, on the road, and then or playing the number 1 draft pick in the NFL in the opener versus a team where you guys are? I don't even think there's a line on it, probably because of DJ, but you're going to be heavily favored.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously just human nature in general, there's some differences, but I think for us, you know, we're gonna be focused on what we do throughout the week.
When you look back at August, how much of what you intended to get done did you get done, would you say?
Yeah, I feel good about it. You know, obviously I think we did a good job developing depth where we needed it. You know, I'm proud of some of the players that kind of surfaced as we were looking for competition to build depth. Now, that is ongoing. You know, I would say, you know, some of these positions that we've talked about, I think that the development of the young players, because a lot of these guys haven't played significant roles. You know, maybe they played at the end of the game at certain points throughout last year, but I think those are the players that I think we need to see continue to improve. You know, and that's going to be important for our team. We know in this league the depth will be really, really important. So, you know, you're always coaching your team. You have different capacity in every room, but you got to continue to coach all parts of the team throughout the year. But I do feel good about the progress of a lot of those players that we talked about in the very beginning.
Is there an area of the team that you thought stood out better than what you may have expected?
Yeah, I think the edge room, the inside backer room, those are two rooms where I feel good about, you know, what we have. I mean, I think, and then you dig into, you know, I do think that there's great competition for the 4th corner spot. I think there's great competition, you know, kind of who's the 5th inside backer, right? Who are the 5th, 6th safeties? I mean, we're still having the same conversations. You know, I do think Amir Jackson's had a good camp. I think that Jason Zandamella's had a good camp. So those are the players that I'm talking about specifically.
Billy, when you say worrying about what you're doing and all that, what are some things that you will focus on?
Yeah,
like the operation,
sure,
things like that. What aspects will you?
Yeah, I just think, you know, we're doing things that we haven't done before, right? So this group has been through every phase. This is a new phase, right? So in-season routine, you know, what does the scout team process look like? You know, not only in-house with the staff in terms of, you know, meetings, periods, as simple as how we draw cards, you know, to replicate plays of the opponent. But I think those are areas where you're always ironing the wrinkles out, especially in the very beginning. We've done quite a bit of work to try to prep for that, but, you know, today will be our first time doing it, you know, when it really counts. You don't get the rep back. That, you know, oftentimes we'll tell the staff, you know, we're screwing the players, right, because we weren't as prepared as we could be in that rep. We didn't recreate the game for the players, right? So I think those jobs are really, really important for the team. And it's important that the players take great pride in those roles, but it's also important for the staff to be well prepared.
Really, on that note of recreating the reps, is there anything you guys did in training camp to try to get the players more prepared for the first week of the season, just in how you structure things or make it more game week-like?
Yeah, we did. I think we built the work load to create some rhythm for an in-season week in terms of the player load throughout each week of training camp. I think that we did a lot of opponent teach work so we could get ready for some of these processes that will happen early. In general, we typically do that for the first 4 opponents, so we've done quite a bit of that.
You mentioned Ron Cooper. Did you ever cross paths with him over the last 20 years, and how much can you maybe even ask Vinny Cincinnati, who worked with his dad for a long time, and Steve Spurrier maybe about just to get a better sense of what he likes to do?
Yeah, no, I think Coach Cooper's well respected in the profession. He's had a heck of a journey. For him to get an opportunity to be a head coach, I think he's done a great job. I think you see their team getting better. Last year they had some really big wins down the stretch, and then I think get a good young quarterback that can cause some problems for you. So in general, he's got a great grasp of the game.
How would you evaluate the camp from a physicality, line of scrimmage standpoint? Obviously, a lot of momentum at the end of last season in that regard. Where do you feel like you guys are?
Yeah, no, it's there's one way to do it. There's one speed, and we've done it that way.
Billy, working with DJ for another offseason, another fall camp, what stands out about the way he prepares and also the way he's been become a better leader?
Yeah, I think you see he's in a different place from a leadership standpoint because of what he experienced last year. I just think it's been his team since January, so I think his ability to influence others, to say encouraging things, to be a good example, and then obviously he knows what the games are like. He knows what an in-season prep is like. So I think that those things eliminate some of that anxiety or the unknown, right? So I think last year at this point in time, he had no clue what he was walking into. Now he's working his tail off, but, until you've run out there, you don't quite understand.
Do you want to see the mental reps and the film study in that regard kind of show up in these early games? What he's
it's important. I think Coach O'Hara does a great job. I think our quarterback routine started yesterday, and it's by the minute, by the rep. These guys they're always well prepared, and certainly DJ he's a football junkie. So he's consumed with improvement, and he's already started his process of getting ready to play this week. And it's really you're playing the game every day if you're doing it the right way. So I think he along with the other players on the team. If we're doing this right, there's a process for Sunday, Monday, and we're in the middle of that process.
You were saying there's only one way to do it, be physical, right? So with DJ, is that how you got to call the game, like he's 100% good to go? Or do you call it like, I got to protect this guy a little bit while he gets caught up?
Yeah, I think probably wouldn't say those things publicly, but you're obviously you're thinking the right way. I think there's some gamesmanship to that part. There's no question about it. But in general, I don't know that we're going to disclose our approach with a game plan. But, I do think it is what it is at this point.
Billy, you started recruiting him, DJ, before he kind of blew up. How important was kind of the off-field army of analysts and everything and getting on him early and ultimately landing him?
Yeah, I think the personnel staff did a great job of identifying him. And we had a prior relationship with his quarterback coach, Coach Tillman, back in Houston. We had coached a player who had trained with him prior, and that's where the relationship came from. And Joe Hamilton, being from Texas, I think that helped us as well. But he was in our footprint at Louisiana, right? So our process there led to him being an early, we identified him early because he was doing some impressive things. And then we get here and we kind of start that process. So, yeah, I think the relationship piece is ultimately what held it together and the caliber of people they are. So, yeah, in general, I think the staff did a great job.
Do you remember roughly when that was, when he first popped onto your radar?
I remember the first visit. He came during spring practice of that first year. I can remember we were in the stadium at that point, and we were meeting upstairs on the whatever floor that is, in the offensive staff room, and he's in there with his dad, his quarterback coach. We met in my office over there. So, that's my first. I do remember pulling the tape up and evaluating him the day before, the day of there, just saying, okay, hey, they're telling me this guy's a good player. Let me take a look. So, yeah, it was year one when we first got here.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Not to go too much into game plan stuff, but the positions you mentioned, the fourth cornerback, fifth inside backer, how much do you anticipate potentially this being another opportunity to evaluate where those spots stand against Long Island?
Yeah, we'll see how they practice this week. I think we have, for there's a large group of players on our team that need to have a great week, and that's going to decide how much they play. So, practice performance is game day reality. And if you're unproven, the only way you really prove yourself is to do it in a practice setting, right? So how intentional are you in the meetings? What's your demeanor in the meeting, at the walkthrough, when you're not taking a rep? What is your approach? How engaged are you, and how important is it to you? So you need to prove to the staff that you're ready, but there's accountability to the other players, the veteran players, because we don't just throw you out there. I mean, we get to put 11 out there, about 180 plays every week. So you got to do the work beforehand to get a chance to go out there.
Things stand with the backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll see. So I think big week coming up, and we're not ready to make any declarations there publicly.
All right, there's Billy Napier, the head coach of the Florida Gators. I'm Kevin Winter. That is his weekly press conference. We will run Billy Napier's weekly press conference every Monday at 11:30. He usually jumps in about 11:45. However, it is now time to go live and local from noon to 6 like we do each and every Monday through Friday to break things down, what he heard from Billy. The good news, everyone, take a sigh of relief. DJ's okay. DJ's going to get the start. Sports Team with Steve Russell starts right now on WRUF.
From the Spurs